Hello, dear friends. Hello. Today I would like to share with you my story, but his glory. The following story you're about to hear is a journey where cancer plays a role, but not the main role. Exodus chapter 14, verse 4. The Lord will fight for you. All you have to do is be still. Amen. Approximately 18 months ago, after going through many tests and a hospital stay, I met with an oncologist. I was told I had stage 4 cancer in my bowel. It was an unusual cancer, melanoma, usually found on the skin. I was told chemotherapy would not be suitable, but they were going to try me on immune therapy, a relatively new drug in medical terms, but a drug they were having great success with. It was the only treatment available to me, and I would be on treatment for the rest of my life. To be honest, I was so ill at this stage. I didn't think I had much left. My family thought the same. I sat there listening to the oncologist as she explained the medical plan. I told her, I'm not going to Google anything. I trust you. She responded, good, you are already my friend. In my heart, I was saying, Father, this is too big of a challenge for me. I don't have the energy or the will to fight this. I'm surrendering this to you. I trust you. I know you will never hurt me or abandon me. I know you are dependable and I can depend on you. I know that I am safe in your hands, and as long as you are with me, I have nothing to fear. I always kept that in mind. I thanked him for the doctors and nurses for their skill and knowledge. I told him I would do whatever they asked me. Probably my first time ever being completely obedient in my life. That's a lesson the Lord, I think, had for me. I said to him, Father, I believe you are the giver and taker of life, and I know that you have the last word on this. I accept whatever the outcome of this is. I ask you one thing. Whatever life is left in me, use it for your glory. Let my life be a witness of your love. You can now imagine the emotional talk my family and I had following this appointment. It broke my heart to see them so upset. I told them there was no need for any of us to go around with long faces, that I was okay and had a great peace in my heart, and that I was trusting in God for the outcome in all of this. I didn't need to Google anything. I didn't need to talk about it 24 hours a day. To be honest with you, I wasn't really that interested in cancer. I asked them for their faith, not their fear. I thought even if it's only the size of a mustard seed. I needed it. I would take this one step at a time, one day at a time. I made a decision that when fear, anxiety and doubt came knocking on the door of my mind, I would shout out, nobody at home, and ignore them. So the journey began. Entered into a territory I knew nothing about, a rough terrain of hospitals, scans, appointments and bi-weekly treatments. There were a couple of hiccups along the way, serious side effects with a hospital stay. I journeyed along knowing that Father was present with me, with the love and support of my family, friends, and meeting many beautiful people along the way. I felt surrounded by love. Our Father is right there with us during these arduous times. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 28 to 31. Have you not known? Have you not heard that Yahweh is an everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth? He does not grow weary or tired. His knowledge is without limit. He gives strength to the enfeebled, and I was enfeebled. He gives vigor to the wearied. Youth may grow tired and faint. Young men will stumble and fall. But those who hope in Yahweh, he will renew their strength. They will soar as with eagle's wings. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and never tire. I rested and prayed when I could. During one of my prayer times, the word hope came into my mind. It stopped me in my tracks. I thought to myself, what does hope mean? Who or what do I hope in? I knew the answer. As a follower of Jesus, my hope was in Jesus. My thoughts travelled back through the years, and I knew that at times, when prayer didn't seem to be answered, I tossed hope aside without even realising what I was doing. I was ignorant. I didn't understand. I felt sad and told the Lord, I am so sorry, and asked his forgiveness. As I was speaking to the Lord, an image of Jesus sitting on the throne came into my mind. Life was powerfully pulsating out of him, radiating out of him like balls of pure energy. I understood in that image, John chapter 1, verse 1 to 5. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing came to be. Whatever has come to be found life in him. Life which for humans was also light. Light that shines in the dark. Light that darkness could not overcome. In that image, I understood that all life comes through Jesus. He is the author of life from its very beginning to the end. Everything comes through Jesus. He is a friend of life, he's a supporter of life, and a protector of life. I now understood. My hope was now firmly placed in Jesus alone. Not in Google, not in other people, not in the news, and not in negative thinking and conversation. I continued along the journey, confident in his love and trusting him. Yes, it was arduous at times. Treatment was stopped in July this year due to side effects. On October 25th, I had my scheduled 3-month scan, followed up with an appointment with the oncologist. On November 9th, I met with the oncologist. I was told my scan was clear. There was no sign of the disease in my body. There is no sign of the disease in my body. They were taking me off all treatment and will continue to scan me every 3 months to keep an eye on things. Going into that appointment, the most I had hoped for, the most I had expected was that they could treat the side effects and continue me on treatment as there was no other alternative. This was beyond all my expectations, much more than I hoped for. My daughter and I sat stunned looking at each other. We were like that for 2 days. It's still becoming real, to be honest with you. I said to my daughter, if we feel like this, how did people who Jesus healed when he walked the earth feel? Overwhelmed, to say the least. God certainly cannot be outdone in generosity. One last reflection I would like to share with you. When we are given a diagnosis of cancer, or a loved one is given a diagnosis of cancer, cancer tends to become this big monster in our minds. It can be overwhelming, way too big for us to handle. Some of us curl up in a ball, cower down in fear, believing this monster has taken control of our lives. Fear, anxiety doubt come knocking on the door of our minds and we back down into a corner hoping we stand a chance. It can replace God as first place in our lives. When we place our hope in Jesus alone and fix our gaze firmly on him, confident in his love, surrendering and accepting his will, knowing he will always do what's best for us, guess what happens to cancer? Cancer starts shriveling up like a raisin. It becomes tiny and Jesus becomes huge. Cancer runs away like the coward it is. Cancer means nothing to Jesus. This places Jesus in his rightful place in our lives for every challenge we may have to face. In closing, I want to say a heartfelt thank you to my family and friends for their love and support, their courage and bravery walking beside me on this journey. To all the friends I know and those whom I have yet to meet for their many, many prayers and masses. To the wonderful medical team, doctors and nurses for their excellent care. You are all heroes to me. And I thank you, our Father, for the gift of life. And lastly, as Father Ronnie Mitchell, who is with the Lord, a beautiful spiritual father to many of us, would always tell us, don't tell God how big the problem is. Tell the problem how big our God is.